We've got a new month with a new purchase transaction from Cathie Wood for Palantir, as well as some surprising news from Wall Street. But really quick, for July 1st, Cathie Wood might be ramping up by picking up 199,000 Palantir shares, which is her biggest purchase in a while, at least in comparison to the last few. What's noteworthy is that the size of the purchase, of course, at the pricing level of Palantir right now in the 25s. So she still sees upside opportunity in building out the Palantir position, but it's up to you on if it means anything considering her track record. But also, we get an interesting tidbit of news from Wall Street earlier this morning. Even if it's Bank of America, which actually has a very favorable rating of Palantir right now, they actually included Palantir as one of their top 10 short-term stock recommendations for the upcoming quarter of Q3 2024. Now, we already know the latest reiteration from Mariana, the analyst, last Friday that there's still a buy rating with a $28 price target that I covered last week, of course. But lots of folks are just now covering the statement too, even though I only covered the fundamental section on Friday, is that it's pointing out a path to the $30 statement noted on the technical analysis section. So at least at that level, they believe this is an opportunity. Now, in my opinion, this is very interesting list where Palantir is seen as favorable as a high conviction yet short-term play still for Bank of America price action wise, as well as still a fundamentally sound business, it sounds like, for their opinion, which the price target typically covers a 1 year or a little bit more. So it's important to note this is Bank of America's opinion, so do as you want with that information, not investing advice. But I think what's most interesting is just being on this top 10 list and the lens that Bank of America views Palantir when seeing the other companies alongside them. It obviously isn't all tech with a lot of probably more well-known names, at least household-wise to the everyday person, like AutoNation, GE, Goldman Sachs, Spotify, CarMax, Union Pacific, a lot of those regular names. Obviously, every business has their own peers and performance metrics expectations within their industry standards, but what I really think this can do is put Palantir, even if a small step up, on the map, getting more and more associated with these everyday kind of names. Still, it's a long way from it, don't get me wrong, and business-wise, I'd say it's still a game of catch-up and name recognition. But as a stock itself, especially with a big name like Bank of America, Palantir stands to gain at least a little bit of recognition, even if it's just for their stock. And what's really most important out of this list is to hopefully have people start to look into the companies, not blindly just following a list of short-term trades, of course, which in turn builds, in my opinion, can build a more favorable perspective for Palantir away from a meme stock reputation, even though looking at their balance sheet and cash flow, it isn't really a fair label in my opinion. But I digress. Essentially, I, as an individual investor, personally don't want every Joe Schmo to pile in for no reason, which produces a premium in obtaining more shares, but would rather get more in-depth research and coverage from, say, other institutions who have resources to get an inside scoop or get a chance to get close to the pulse of what may be brewing from Palantir's management. So getting on this list for someone who's been behind Palantir is still a big step, though, honestly, but who knows if it prompts other firms to continue to analyze and possibly see more favorable ratings in the future. But what are your thoughts, though, below? And I'll see you in the next video.